Hi guys, it's Kelly here and I'm back with another video. Today's video is featuring some products from Honeybee Stamps. This is a live edited replay that I did, and we are going to be talking about this dimensional wording here. It's actually a die cut that is colored with alcohol markers. So we're going to put together this fun card. We're using the Sandy's Garden 3D embossing folder, the Happy Birthday die, the Lovely Layers bow and bow, and then the Lovely Layers tulips. So I kept this pretty simple with just like some complementary colors and then white. I love a clean white card. I just prefer them. So if you remember a couple of weeks ago, the bunny card that I did, originally when I did that bunny card, I had cut out tulips to go with it, and I didn't end up using them because the proportions weren't right. I would have had to have the world's smallest bunny next to the world's largest tulips. So that didn't work out. So I had them sitting on the desk, and so when I did the live for this particular week, I was like, well, these would be, fun to use with some other things. So for the Happy Birthday is connected mostly. It's in two pieces, and then it has a shadow piece. So we're going to be using all of the pieces, and then here is the branches from bow and bow. There is leaves in the tulips, but they're kind of on the small side, and I'm not really necessarily going for the flowers to read as tulips. I just want them to be florals. And so I kind of laid everything out like I normally do. I did realize that when I was going through and cutting all of my tulips, I actually missed one piece. So I had to go back and cut like 3 of the smallest layer for the little bud. So here I chose a nice kind of bright orange to go with teal. They're complementary colors on the color wheel. If you're interested in knowing more about color theory, I do have color theory for card makers on my website. The bundle is still for sale. And we're just going to use these because it's just going to be nice and clean. So with all the lovely layers, I do like to lay them down one on top of the other, and then I use the lightest color to mark where the shadows are going to go. You don't have to do this every time. This is just helping to train your eye and for you to learn some muscle memory about where the shadows will go. So it's easier to see. So like here, the other ones, I didn't lay them all out. I just went off of what I already knew with the tulips, but all of these things take time to learn, and we're all in different places in our art journey. So if you are struggling with knowing where to put the shadows or where to put the the darkest shading, don't fret. There are tricks for all of it, and each of them you can use forever. Of course you can, or not. You could you'll learn as you go, and you'll get more comfortable. So once I have the shadows put down with the darkest color, then I move through dark midtone, light midtone to my lightest color. And then before I forgot that little guy. I forgot him over on the end. Don't worry. I remembered him in the end. But then I like to go around with the lighter midtone or the lightest color and go around the edges, so that way when I'm putting them all together, you don't see any of that white peeking through. It all is orange on top of orange. And these tulips come together really, really easy because there's just 4 pieces. Here I check as I go for the shadows, like as I'm putting them together, if it looks like there is a little bit of white showing through, or maybe I didn't carry through the darkest color all the way to like where it needed to be, like the little nook or cranny, then I just go back in and add it as I'm gluing them together. If you feel like you don't have enough dimension, like here I felt like I was missing a little bit of my shadow color, I just went back in and added it. You can be really successful the more adaptable you are, because it's just paper and colors. And while we all want to sit down and create something that we're really happy with at the end of it, practice makes progress. Practice does not make perfect. I've been doing this a very, very long time, and I am still learning things all the time. And I hope to God I never stop learning new techniques or new ways to do things or new ways to see things. I enjoy learning in pretty much every area of my life. So here for the buds, these are definitely, like, there's very little real estate if you're picking up what I'm putting down. There's very little real estate, and so I do mark them, but really that piece on like the left hand side, I could just do like a swoop of dark color, and that would be all that was there, because it's not a huge area. So again, I'm going to do the same thing. These will read a little bit darker than the mid-sized tulip because they are smaller. And that's true in nature as well, where you have, like a bud that's like tighter wrapped. There isn't as much light getting in there. So they are definitely going to be a little bit darker. And then we're going to put these together before we move on to our leaves. So I hope you guys are having a good weekend. I feel like I've had a lot of short videos lately, which is really strange for me. And this one's no exception. It's definitely on the shorter side for me. So we haven't really had a lot of story time. So I'll just cover the highlights. I told you guys that we did have a pretty good Easter. I told you guys about our traveling to Cape Cod, which you guys had some very interesting insights, and I totally appreciate your feedback for people who are in the air, the flying industry, because there were things that I did not know, and so I appreciate you sharing that information with me. Here I am doing the leaves. I like having color variation, so I'm doing the leaves actually a dark teal and then a light teal, just so that there is some variation between the two. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do any of this. You can do whatever you want because it's your card. I give you permission. And so I'm going to do the dark one. The darkest teal, like bright teal that I have is a BG49. So when I want something that's a little bit darker than that, I use a B99. They both end in 9, so they blend well together. But it's a dark navy, and then that gives me a little bit more depth. Whereas my light one, I'm going to use the BG49, the 45, and the 11, and it will be much lighter. They both still have good dimension. You're not even going to see all of them anyway. So don't be too precious about it. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, we talked about that. What else have we, I don't know, what else have we been doing? We did Easter. There wasn't really anything. I made a bunny cake. So every Easter, my in-laws, they always have a lamb cake. And then we were at the craft store when we had a little mommy-daughter date, and they had a bunny. They had a silicone bunny tray, like mold. I had never used a silicone baking mold before. Shockingly, the bunny did come out pretty good. But then when I was trying to decorate it, my frosting got too soft, and then I got really frustrated. And so my cupcakes were ugly because I had leftover batter. And then I had really melty flowers on my cupcakes. Wasn't cool at all. But it still tasted okay. It was vanilla, which, meh. I'll take a chocolate any day. Not so much lately though. I've been trying to get back on track with paying attention to what I'm eating and, me exercising and all of those things with my Hashimoto's. It makes it very challenging. There's a ton about that I haven't shared. Which I should, but I need a longer video to do it. I need more than 15 minutes. Here we are to the lettering. So this is something really cool that you can do. You can do it with stamps and you can do it with die cuts. I happen to be doing it with die cuts here, but we're going to add the darkest color as a drop shadow, which is kind of, my light source is in the top right. So my drop shadow is to the bottom left. So that's where I'm adding the darkest color is underneath and to the left. So that is going to make it already more dimensional. And then I'm going to go in, these are the same teal colors that I used before. So I used a B99, a BG 49, a BG 45, and a BG 11. These are Copic markers, but you can use whatever medium you have. The same rules apply. And so I'm adding that shading to the bottom left, and each time I am slightly extending it out more. So my darkest color, I am then taking my dark midtone, going over the darkest color, and making that swatch of color just a little bit larger. And I'm going to do this all the way through to my lightest color. And what it's going to create is a very dimensional sentiment. And so it's going to look like it's popping off the page because it looks like it has its shadow, when in reality it's its own shadow, because we've just added it directly to there. And like I said, you could do this with a stamped image as well, where you stamped it down and then you just added a shadow next to the letter, to the bottom left. You can do any direction, actually. Just make sure you keep it the same throughout all of the letters. I choose the bottom left because that's how I was taught in art class back in 8th grade 1,000,000 years ago, because I am in fact a dinosaur. But so it's always stuck with me, and that's just how I'm most comfortable, so that's how I continue to do it. And then once I have the coloring done, I'm able to add my adhesive, pop it onto that white shadow, and I will then be able to put that right over top of my florals. So it's really balanced because it's kind of a catty corner design. And they're nice and bright and bold, and using those complementary colors makes a huge difference because it makes it really striking. And so you could use this happy birthday card for literally anybody. So anyway, we were talking about the cake, and then the Hashimoto. So I've been trying to eat better. So I have to eat, this is crazy, I have to eat 100 grams of protein in a day. Can you even believe that? I'm doing it, I guess, but I'm not loving it. And I do still like sweets. So I have to find workarounds for that because I'm not just going to be miserable. So they're called Skinny Dips. That's the brand. I don't flag me for monetization. It is the brand of chocolate, and they have like chocolate covered almonds. I really like their chocolate covered, their peanut butter cups and their caramels, but they're only 2 grams of sugar because I am trying desperately. I'm not always successful because, again, in a totally different realm, practice makes progress, not perfection, and I'm not perfect. But I try to stick to that recommended 25 grams of sugar a day, which is really, really challenging for me because I used to order my coffee with 8 creams and 8 sugars. Okay? When I would go to Dunkin', I would get 8 creams and 8 sugars in every single cup of coffee. And can I tell you that I used to drink like 3 of those things a day? But my metabolism was riding high. Okay? My metabolism was a real go-getter. She worked. Okay? She was a ride or die. But now I'm old. I got the hypothyroidism. I got the Hashimoto's. She is spent. She can't be bothered to do any more work. She's in retirement. So I do have to watch now. But hopefully I will be able to get a little bit healthier and be a little bit more comfortable with that, and create new habits. So anywho, so we popped that happy birthday up. I think that he's looking lovely. We added some glitter to it because it could only make me love it more. And then we're going to add some white gel pen. This is also going to help to make that lettering a little bit more dimensional. So on the right hand side, remember we did the dark to the bottom left. So now to the top right, I'm adding a white gel pen. And that is going to further add that dimension and help it to pop. So when I say that I'm adding it to the top right, I mean the right of each side. So like the B, I'm adding it to the bubbly side. The R, I'm adding it to the rounded part, and then the leg that kicks out. So then this, I have that textured, that Sandy's embossing powder, 3D embossing powder in the background, which is adding interest without adding any bulk or detracting away from her very striking complement. But I am also going to add rhinestones because there is never enough gemstones. So here is the finished card. I love the way that it came out. I am super interested to hear whether or not you guys like this type of dimensional lettering or not. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I always appreciate your time, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.